Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Queens. Middle game of a three-game set between the Marlins and the Mets. A little wet out there today, but it looks like we're going to get this one in. Rain in the area throughout the afternoon. No batting practice, but the tarp is off the field. Perhaps a little misty, but baseball coming nonetheless. Excited for it. And inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. So the Mets took the opener last night, shutting out the Miami Marlins. Since Sunday, that offensive outburst for Miami, a little bit cold on the offensive side of things.
Well, they're going to have to get things going. You're right. A little bit inconsistent last night. Had a few opportunities to score some runs. Didn't. Ultimately end up getting shut out. The seventh time this year they've been shut out. So you want to get the offense going, and you need to get it going tonight if you're going to get something done with Caleb Smith going on the mound.
They also have not scored an awful lot of runs against the New York Mets. They haven't scored a lot of runs for Caleb Smith. How do you think he bounces back after one of his more rougher starts?
Well, I think it's going to be a great challenge. And again, that's it. 4 starts ago of his last five starts, the first 4 outstanding. Last start, not so good. But this is going to be a great challenge. Caleb has, at times, had some struggles on the road. And again, watch for his command tonight. The command of that fastball is always key for Caleb Smith. If he's got it, he keeps those walks down, he's got a chance to have a great game.
And that's exactly what Don Mattingly likes about Caleb Smith. He keeps this team in the ball game. So how do they break through against Zach Wheeler?
Well, against Zach Wheeler, you're going to hope to find some early offense. That's exactly what you want. He has struggled early in ball games, early in the first inning, and oh, by the way, he has struggled at Citi Field. I think there's a great chance to get something done. So it's kind of a perfect storm, if you will, but you've got to get it done against the guy who's had your number. Wheeler's got good numbers in his career against the Marlins, so we'll ultimately see how it plays out, but I'm excited for the chance.
As are we. Fun to watch tonight. Middle game of 3 between the Marlins and the Mets. When we come back, it is Twitter Tuesday. Lots of rookies on this team. Jessica Blaylock has more on the other side of the break. not adjust your sets. Yes, we did just see Jose Bautista in Atlanta, but released on Sunday, signed with the Mets earlier today and in the starting lineup. More on that in a bit, but right now downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, it is time for another edition of a Twitter and Email Tuesday, and tonight we're going with the hashtag rookies. Which rookies around Major League Baseball have impressed you most? Who would you vote for as the Marlins all-time rookie? Tell us what you think. You can email us at foxmarlins@gmail.com. You can also send tweets and Instagram posts to @foxmarlins, and don't forget to use tonight's hashtag rookies. And young players getting their opportunities is certainly something that the Marlins are familiar with this season. And for Don Mattingly, he says he is okay with that. There are a lot of positive storylines involving Marlins rookies.
Obviously good. I think we've had a couple of really good stories. I think from Brian's standpoint, we've seen a lot of quality at bats. Good defense really at third and right. Obviously a surprise in right a little bit just because he hasn't played out there. Harlan's been good. I think Peters, when he was here, we've seen good signs. Richards, we've seen good signs. Elizer has been pretty good. So I think in general we're having some good things happen. Probably not as much as we would like, but we're seeing some positive signs.
Lewis Brinson, also one of those young players who is going to benefit from getting playing time this season. Well, the rain came and went. It's still a little bit misty, but we've got baseball coming up here at Citi Field. When we return, it will be Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Mets. Caleb Smith will get the start for Miami.
On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason? The official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Back here in Flushing, Queens, Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth. Second game of a three-game set between the Marlins and the Mets. Again, Tarp was on the field for a good portion of the afternoon. Neither team took batting practice on the field. They pulled the tarp right around 6 o'clock. Looked like it stopped raining, but right now working through a little bit of a mist, if anything, at the moment. And there is Jose Bautista signed to a major league contract about 10 minutes ago, it seems.
Well, let's give you the starting defense for the Mets, brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Centers. Nimmo is now in left field. Conforto's in center. I'm sorry, scratch that. Nimmo's in right. Batista moves to left. There we go. It was 10 minutes ago, right?
That's right. Late
Conforto in center field. Reyes, Rosario, Cabrera around the way. Flores gets the start at first base. Nito behind the plate for Wheeler.
Yeah, probably about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes ago is when the Mets made the starting lineup change. Marlins, though, no real changes, at least from when we first saw it at 3 this afternoon. Martin Prado, JT Realmuto at the top. Justin Bour in the 3-hole, as he has been with righties on the mound, or at least ahead of Brian Anderson. Starlin Castro is cleaning up tonight against Zach Wheeler, who is making his second start this season against the Miami Marlins, his 8th start of the season overall.
Well, you see the numbers on the season. 5.92 ERA certainly gets your attention. His ERA has risen almost 2 points in his last 3 starts. 15 earned runs. So he's been getting knocked around lately.
So we're ready for baseball. And the first pitch from Zach Wheeler is inside, 1-0.
Now, the one thing Wheeler has going for him, you mentioned the start earlier this season where he was very good, his first start of the year. He's got a good career against the Marlins. 8 starts, 2.15 ERA.
And with 7 strong innings in his first big league start of 2018. 7 innings, he gave up 2 hits and struck out 7. He has actually struck out 7 in each of his last 2 outings, against the Reds and against the Blue Jays. But coming off a loss his last time out, as Prado hits one on the ground to Ahmed Rosario. And there is one away.
Well, before we get too far along, let's give you the Auto Nation scouting report of Zach Wheeler. No friend of the city, that's right. 3 starts at Citi Field this season. 0-3 with a 9.56 ERA. 16 innings pitched, 24 hits, 9 walks, 4 home runs. Last 2 starts, 10 innings and 14. 7:10 p.m. Follow along. Wheeler has struggled in the first inning, 11.57 ERA, and OPS over 1,200 against him. 3 homers, 7 walks. He's had some major issues in the first inning.
JT Realmuto breaks his bat and dumps one into center field. A base hit for Realmuto. He was 0 for 4 last night, but on his first swing gets his first hit, and there's 1 on, 1 out against Wheeler.
Take one more look, jumping on a good first fastball. He didn't crush it, broke his bat, stayed inside, and able to pick up the base hit to center field. Wheeler tonight, you'll probably see him live and die by the fastball. He's got a good one, 94, 97 miles an hour, uses it an awful lot, 62% of the time, but hitters are hitting 326 against it.
Inside to Justin Bour at 97 miles an hour. Bour last night 0 for 3 with another walk. That's 21 in May to lead the National League, and it's tied with Mike Trout for the most walks across baseball in May.
Saw the curveball, uses it about 10% of the time. As I said, the fastball, 94, 97. 62%. The slider's his put-away pitch. Uses it the most to at times pick up the strikeouts, but he's not using the fastball. Does have a splitty.
Called strike. Bour with a glance back at Mike Estabrook, the home plate umpire tonight. Crew chief Kerwin Danley's at first, Chad Fairchild at second, and Bruce Dreckman is the umpire at third. Mentioned the 21 walks in May, but 35 walks all season for Justin Bour, tops on the team, and just about twice as many as the next closest Marlin. 35 for him, 18 for the second place Marlin. It's amazing just the way that he has been patient, and yet it seems as though he's also leading the team in home runs and RBIs. So when he is getting his pitch, he's coming through.
He's doing a pretty good job battling here with that splitty at the bottom of the zone. A couple of tough pitches, able to foul him off. You notice Wheeler really staying to the inside part of the plate right now. They're playing the overshift. They've got it going on. Left side of the infield wide open.
That is close, but ball 2. Now the count runs full.
Are you surprised?
Not really.
You're all the way back to 3-2 again. This is what he's done so well. It's fun to watch.
It is.
He's put a bit of a clinic on up there. He's fought off some tough pitches, and we've watched this throughout the month of May. When the mistake comes, he's made some people pay.
Runner goes, and that one's fouled right back. Well, I'm sure frustration can creep in as a hitter. I mean, 21 walks in today's the 22nd, so basically a walk a day, kind of, sort of. But that frustration can creep in. Like, I want to swing the bat here, but he hasn't been chasing.
I tell you, he hasn't really gotten away from his game plan all the month. I mean, when he's seen mistakes, he's been ready to swing the bat. It isn't somebody who's just standing up there taking ball after ball. Guys have at times gone after him.
Again, Real Muto goes. This one is laced out to center field, sends Conforto back to the track. And a loud out number 2 here in the first.
Quality at bat. Justin Bohr, well struck baseball.
It's the 9th pitch of the at bat after Real Muto had a broken bat single on his first. So homework done in the on deck circle by Starlin Castro, who digs in 2 for 4 in last night's game, had a triple and a stolen base on the road trip through Atlanta and 1 game here in Queens. 5 for 17, a little under 300.
He's been hot over his last 10 games, 5 extra base hits.
Also fared pretty well in this ballpark in 22 games at Citi Field, a .286 career hitter. This has been one of the areas where Wheeler struggles. When guys get on base, opponents are hitting .348 against him. We'll see if Castro can add to those numbers, as he does not chase. Yes, he does, says Kerwin Danley. 0-2.
Well, along with that AutoNation scouting report, the 7:10 p.m. is the first 25 pitches that Wheeler throws. Not very good numbers against him. Hitters hitting almost 400.
To short, Rosario gets the out at second, and the inning is over. We'll see Caleb Smith pitch against the Mets at the bottom of the first. Marlins and Mets. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Brandon Nimmo leading things off today. Your Mets lineup presented to you by Southwest. Nimmo was always in the lineup despite the change, but he has moved from left to right. Jay Bruce was in the lineup. He no longer is. Jose Bautista, again, who was released by the Atlanta Braves on Sunday prior to the Marlins-Braves series finale, signed to a major league contract by the New York Mets earlier this afternoon, so he gets slotted into the lineup in the number 5 spot out in left field. All those men will face Caleb Smith tonight.
Caleb Smith, 2-5, 4.22 ERA, 9 starts, making his 10th. Now, before his last start, he was on a roll. 1.50 ERA over those 4 starts, 31 strikeouts, 4 walks. Now, his last start catches your attention. May 17th versus the Dodgers, he walked 4. Gave up 4 runs. 3 of the 4 walks ended up coming around to score. So we know when he's good, he's around the plate, he's attacking, he's in the zone. When he's off and you see the walks, it's a lot of times when Caleb gets into trouble.
The first pitch to Brandon Nimmo is in there for a called strike. 0 for 4 last night. 5 for 21 with a home run, couple of RBIs, and 3 runs scored on this homestand for the New York Mets. Prior to the Marlins coming to town, it was the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets, of course, won last night, swept the D-backs. They have won 4 straight games. They're 6-2 in their last 8. And that comes on the heels of having lost 18 of 27.
Nimmo's done a nice job out of the leadoff spot, getting on at a 4.38 clip. Not this time.
A called strike 3.
You shouldn't be surprised. Caleb Smith, some of the best strikeout numbers in the game right now. All right, let's take a look at the Marlins defensively tonight. Brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Dietrich gets the start in left field. Brinson in center. Anderson and right doing a nice job out there. Prado, Rojas, Castro, and Board. JT Realmuto behind the plate for Caleb Smith. I mentioned the strikeout totals. How about this? A strikeout rate of 31.5%. That's 4th in the National League. Caleb's doing a great job there. Strikeouts per 9, that's at 12. That's 3rd in the National League. The swinging strike rate, outstanding as well. Some of the evidence you mentioned they presented to Caleb Smith about 5 starts ago when they said, listen, you need to be more aggressive inside the strike zone. You've got to go after these big league hitters. You've got to stop looking at the names on the back of the uniforms and realize your stuff plays up here.
Ball and a strike to Asdrubal Cabrera. A couple of hits in last night's ball game. The .325 average, 4th best in the National League, 9th best in Major League Baseball. Backhanded by Rojas. 2 up and 2 down. Flores in the 3 spot today at first base. Last night it was Adrian Gonzalez against the righty Eliezer Hernandez. Today Agon gets the day off, and Flores, who came off the bench last night, gets the start at first. Well, what has been fun about being around this club this year, this Marlins team this year, is they, as we will talk throughout the night on this Twitter email Tuesday about rookies. There's a lot of young guys out here who are learning the game at this level, learning about themselves, playing the game at this level, and to see those moments where the light bulb goes off, where it says, the guy says, oh, all right, now I get it, and something clicks. We've seen that a few times.
Well, you have a pretty good dynamic here. You've got some veterans sprinkled in, obviously a lot of rookies. I've said, you know, one of 2 ways typically works. If you've got a lot of young guys, they can succeed together and fail together. It's a lot easier to do it with a group than it is to alone.
Three and 1 to Flores, who was 1 for 1 with an RBI last night as a pinch hitter, draws the walk here in the first. A 2-out base on balls for Caleb Smith. That'll bring up Michael Conforto, 2 for 4 in last night's ball game. 7 for 19, a home run, 4 RBIs on the homestand. As the Mets dealing with many injuries throughout this lineup right now, throughout this roster. Trying to patch it together and figure out how to get guys in certain spots to help the collective team. I mean, last year we saw Conforto in the leadoff spot an awful lot. Mickey Callaway, his coaching staff, putting together the lineup every day, trying to figure out how can we do this the right way without Yoenis Cespedes, without Todd Frazier, without Juan Lagares.
You've got that many players on the disabled list, you find yourself mixing and matching and inking guys to contracts and getting them in the lineup the same day. As you see Jose Bautista, there's Todd Frazier.
Working his way back from a hamstring injury. Signed this offseason by the New York Mets. Nothing 2 to Conforto. Just misses high, 1-2.
Conforto, one of the few lefties that's actually had some good at-bats against Caleb Smith this year. Caleb started against this Mets team back in April. Conforto was 2 for 3 that day. Start against the Mets, he went 5 innings, struck out 7. April 10th.
That was before that proverbial light bulb went off for Caleb Smith. The one walk in this inning, but Smith has allowed 3 or fewer hits in 4 of his last 5 starts. Mixed in there 3 outings with just 2 hits allowed. And the 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. Strike 3, a couple of strikeouts in the inning for Caleb Smith. He strands 1. Back to Queens in a moment. Off top of the second inning, Brian Anderson followed by Derek Dietrich and Miguel Rojas against Zach Wheeler. Worked around a 1-out single to JT Realmuto in the first. Brian Anderson near or at the top of a host of rookie leaderboards. Rookies, the theme of our Twitter Tuesday today. Have a tweet right here from Patrick. Why is Brian Anderson and other guys who played last September still considered rookies this season? Well, the official major league rules say that during a previous season or seasons, a player has not exceeded 130 at-bats or 50 innings pitched
or accumulated more than 45 days on the active roster. So last year, Brian Anderson, 25 games and 84 at bats. So he is a rookie and quite the productive one here in 2018.
He certainly has. That consistency has kept him in the lineup every day. Tell you what, one of the things that's impressed me, and he's done this a few times this year, you know, he'll have a day where he's 0 for 2, 0 for 3, and he'll get back down to that last at bat. You know, in my rookie season, I would have gone up there, as long as it didn't bounce, I was swinging, if you follow me. Meaning there were times that I was still chasing the hit. Brian Anderson doesn't do that. I'm so impressed with his discipline. He has a nice job of bringing the at bat just to that moment.
A line drive, base hit for Anderson. Toward the left center field gap, sliding to cut it off is Bautista. A high throw will allow Anderson into second base with a leadoff double here in the second inning.
Well, a fantastic job by Brian Anderson. Nice at bat, earns the fastball inside lane, drills it into the left center field gap, gets a little skip on the grass. Watch this, it starts to accelerate. So does Bautista, and by doing that, he had to go down to cut off the baseball before it gets to the wall.
With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Again, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Yeah, I think we've all been extremely impressed with Brian Anderson, and certainly with your numbers as a rookie back in 1996.
Well, my numbers, you know, they added up okay. I see them there at the bottom of the screen. I appreciate that, guys. Looking good. But the point is that I had to fight for a lot of that. And again, I was a roller coaster ride. I mean, I had the hot streaks and I had some really cold streaks. I almost got sent down at least twice. Brian Anderson hasn't proven that, and I think that's what's been so impressive. You know, we talked about the argument for him later on this year, and I think that's going to stand up. He has maintained his discipline at home plate. Listen, you can have athleticism defensively on the bases. That's all fine and dandy. But at home, where he's really measured, he has been very, very consistent.
And now Dietrich with a base hit. Anderson had to go back on the line drive, so he'll get up to third. And first and third for the Marlins here to lead off the second inning.
A couple of rockets off the bat. With Anderson and now Dietrich. Why not? Get out of the way, Brian Anderson. Coming right at you.
So the Marlins set up nicely here with runners on the corners, nobody out. And one of their hottest hitters right now in Miguel Rojas at the dish, hitting .368 with 9 RBIs in his last 12 games. 7 home runs this season. A couple back of the team leader, Justin Bohr.
Speaking of consistent hitters, this has been one of the consistent run producers for the Marlins.
Two of their more productive hitters with runners in scoring position are on base right now. Anderson at third, Dietrich at first, as the Marlins look to crack the scoreboard first against the New York Mets. Rojas last night was 1 for 3 with a walk, including last night's game and the 3-game series in Atlanta. 5 for 12, that's .417. A couple of home runs, 4 RBIs on this road trip.
A very solid 2-strike approach. He's maintained it all season.
Nito sets up inside, and Wheeler misses high, 1-2.
One thing the Marlins on the whole have done a very good job this season. When they get to 2 strikes, they choke up, they shorten up, they put the ball in play for the most part.
One of the things that Miguel Rojas has credited his consistency, certainly his increase in power, has been the fact that he's been playing every day, and he has made it so that Don Mattingly has had to put him in the lineup every day. He's been so consistent.
Now that's the best way to do it. Force the hand of your manager with great play. He's backed it up. Any manager will tell you, most guys are very open-minded to offensive production. You produce, you play. It still applies in this day of sabermetrics.
Marlins had 4 of their 5 hits with 2 strikes last night. Looking for one today that could put him on the board, and it does. A base hit through the right side. It's an RBI for Miguel Rojas as that throw gets all the way through to third. No further advance for Dietrich, but a 1-0 lead for Miami.
Now, 3 consecutive rockets off the bats. Marlins hitters. Nice approach. This slider stays up. 92 miles an hour. Doesn't do much. Nice job by Rojas, fouling off a couple of tough pitches at the top of the zone. How many times have we seen him this year shorten up in that situation and put the ball in play hard and get that guy in from third?
Well, that's the thing, as we have talked about a lot in a general sense. I think you and I both don't love the strikeout. We don't just see it as just another out, right? You can have a productive out. And especially with this Marlins club right now, you need productive outs.
You can live with the strikeouts if you're producing, if you're a top 5 home run hitting team. It's as simple as that. You've got to understand it both ways.
Brinson line drive to left field, and Bautista puts it away for the first out here in the second. But another hard hit ball against Zach Wheeler. Bring up Caleb Smith. Has 3 sacrifice bunts this year. That's expecting it with Reyes in at third and Flores in at first. And Squares pops it up, but it gets down. And Reyes with the double pump, and it's dropped at first base. They're going to be loaded.
Well, Jose Reyes has not been getting a whole lot of playing time. He struggled this month of May, and I'll tell you what, there was some hesitation on the bunt, and I'm not sure why. All right, watch this bunt. He knows he's trying to catch this in the air, but as soon as he doesn't, there's no play at third base. He's totally locked up.
Do you think that he was trying to bluff and keep the runner at second base to then get the out at third, saw nobody was covering?
I believe he felt he maybe just had a shot at Rojas at second base. That's the only thing I can believe there. But again, once that play is slow developing as it was, he's got to understand the outs at first base. It's the second out of the inning if he gets it, and now you're just 1 out away from getting out of the inning. Instead, you've got the bases loaded and 1 out. Huge break for the Marlins.
Ball and no strikes to Martin Prado, who grounded out back in the first inning. Fouls this one straight back. Yeah, it wasn't popped up high enough for like an infield fly, right, where the runners advance on their own accord. So I guess what I'm thinking is, I wonder if he was trying to bluff the catch to keep the runner at second on a popped up bunt, but the runner at second was aggressive enough to see that it might have been falling. He was going to third anyway.
No, I think he just locked up. Here's why. He was staying home at third base because he was anticipating the potential play at third base. It wasn't a full-on crash. In fact, Reyes had to read it first before breaking in. Yeah, watch. See, it's a read. So he's coming in, so now he decides to come full throttle. There's really no chance at a catch. He just thought maybe, just maybe, he had a shot at Rojas.
Prado pops this one up. And they do call the infield fly. 2 away. So it's JT Realmuto with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Marlins have a run on the board, a Miguel Rojas RBI single. It's certainly threatening for more against Zach Wheeler and the Mets here in the second. Inside and upstairs 1-0. So for bookkeeping purposes, it is being called a sacrifice bunt for Caleb Smith and an E5 for Reyes. Up the middle, and that one's going to trickle through.
Yeah.
2 runs are going to score, and the throw goes to third. In there safely is Smith, and Real Muto with a seeing eye 2 RBI single. It's 3-0 Marlins.
Oh, taking full advantage of the air. You love to see it. Again, a hard hit baseball, but a perfectly placed baseball off the bat of JT Real Muto. You could see it developing as soon as it got past the mound. Nobody had an angle. You see Cabrera going to the slide just to keep the ball on the infield, unable to do it. They're not keeping the ball on the infield. Another run scores.
Both of those runs unearned, but Marlins don't particularly care. It's a 3-0 lead.
Right.
And now Justin Bour.
By the way, I'll mention it now. I may not mention it the rest of the year. Great base running by Caleb Smith, getting himself over to third base and not being satisfied with the ball getting through and just stopping at second.
And now Bour takes a called strike.
By Caleb Smith getting to third base, JT was able to move up because it drew a throw. Now you've got a base open at first base. You got the big guy in the box and Starlin on deck. Chance for more.
Tried to go inside corner again, misses inside that time, and it's 1-1. Bour lined out to the track in, used to call it right center field back in the first inning, but hit it hard. A hard hit double by Anderson, a hard base hit by Dietrich, Rojas, Brinson, all hard hit balls in this inning against Zach Wheeler. Well, Holly, you wanted the offense to perk up a little bit. Scored 9 runs on Sunday. Bats remained relatively quiet last night to the tune of 0 runs against Vargas and the Mets bullpen. 3 runs with 2 outs here in the second tonight.
Well, you had some numbers that were working in their favor, not just Wheeler. Of course, Wheeler's had some success against the Marlins throughout his career, but he struggled in this ballpark. And I felt like if they could get a few guys on early, you would see Zach Wheeler start to make some mistakes. Tonight, he's done that. Watch the Mets make a mistake. Marlins able to capitalize.
Two and two with Smith off of third and Real Muto off of second. And Bour pops this one up left side. Reyes gives chase, but that'll reach the seats. Anderson hit the ball 94 miles an hour. Dietrich 101. Rojas 97. Brinson 100. They have certainly squared up Zach Wheeler in this, to this point, 3-run second inning. But Bour comes up empty there. Marlins push across 3 against Wheeler and the Mets. Let's see if Caleb Smith can protect that lead.
Email and Twitter Tuesday, but we cannot have that conversation without mentioning the ultimate rookie of the year, Jackie Robinson. Not only were his numbers on the field in his first season incredible, but he made the most important contribution of all, breaking the race barrier for Major League Baseball. In fact, the award for Rookie of the Year was renamed after Jackie Robinson in 1987.
Both the award, the Rookie of the Year award, and wearing number 42 on April 15th. Two of the great tributes for Major League Baseball to Jackie Robinson, who again on April 15th in 1947 broke Major League Baseball's color barrier. And not only was that certainly a huge moment in baseball, in our country's history, but he was also a pretty darn good baseball player too. And they of course have the Robinson Rotunda here at Citi Field. Bit of a throwback. Of course, the New York Mets wear orange and blue as their main colors. Orange to signify the New York Giants before they moved to San Francisco, and the blue for the Brooklyn Dodgers before they moved to LA. So a little bit of a throwback to the history of baseball in New York as Jose Bautista leads things off. Bautista, Reyes, and Tomas Nido against Caleb Smith, who has runs to work with tonight, something that he has not had in the majority of his starts this year.
Yeah, it's good to see the offense erupt, take full advantage of the mistake by the Mets. Give Caleb a lead. You know what it promotes in Caleb? He's the type of personality that if you give him a lead, he's going to get more aggressive. He's going to go at that strike zone. A few times he has struggled. It's been close ball games, maybe down a run or two, and you'll see him trying not to give up too much, almost trying to be too perfect. Give him some room to breathe, I think he gets even more aggressive.
Quickly ahead 0-2 to Jose Bautista. Juan Nieves has been working with Caleb Smith since he came over from the New York Yankees this offseason. This one straight back toward us. Fouled into the upper deck, still 0-2.
I thought there was a couple of good challenges that were presented in tonight's ballgame for Caleb Smith. The first one being that his last start didn't go so well. 3 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 walks certainly gets your attention. But this is the first time in his career that he's now doubled up against the team. What I mean by that is he's faced the Mets before this year. Every start in his career has been merely going up against a team and moving on to the next team.
Bautista down the left field line. It will fall fair. And extra bases in his first Mets at bat.
Now I'm guessing Batista is going to get some playing time, particularly against the lefties. His 2 homers and 5 RBIs on the season have come against the lefties, and in this fastball in, he keeps those hands in, didn't crush it, and it was hit pretty softly down the left field line, but he did keep it fair. Double either way.
Here's Jose Reyes now. I think it's fair to say the days of the 45 to 55 home runs a season for Jose Bautista, those days are likely in the past. As Reyes shoots this one foul down the right field line.
Either way you look at it, I think he would like to stay somewhere for an extended period, at least a season. If there's some opportunity here, at least against the lefties, I'm sure he'll do his best to take full advantage of those.
Again, we saw him in Atlanta. Now we see him here. If he is with the Nationals when we get back home,
that would just be weird.
I would think he just wants to be a Marlin, frankly. Following us around the
Probably should have just thrown him on the plane with us the other day. I mean, honestly, we saw him at the hotel as he was staying there with the Atlanta Braves, and in fact packing up that Sunday morning. It was only a couple days ago.
That's right.
We all together in the same place again.
There's a strike to Reyes, getting his first action of this series. A 132 hitter in 31 games. Currently 2 for his last 22 in 13 games here in May. Slaps this one to second base. Castro And Bautista over to third.
Come join us at the Clevelander Marlins Park on Saturday, May 26th. Sample more than 20 different domestic and international brews. Beer Fest is coming. Tickets start at just $30 when the Marlins take on the Nationals. You'll get early access to the party at Clevelander Marlins Park. Purchase your tickets at marlins.com/beerfest.
Tomas Nido fouls it straight back, getting the start behind home plate tonight. Again, mentioned the injuries, the Fraziers, the Cespedes, the Lagares, but how about injuries to Kevin Plawecki and Travis d'Arnaud? So now that's why we saw Devin Mesoraco acquired from the Cincinnati Reds for Matt Harvey a few weeks back. He got the start last night. Nido behind the plate tonight. And that leads us right to our Toyota inside look. 5 catchers used already this season for the New York Mets. Jose Lobaton, Nido, Plawecki, Mesoraco, d'Arnaud. They used 8 in 1998, and they are well ahead of that pace. Just trying to find answers. And, you know, as we talked about last night with the acquisition of Mesoraco and a couple of cross-ups last night, trying to learn this new pitching staff, all the starters, all the relievers, what situations, and on it goes. That's not necessarily a position you want a revolving door. As Nido sends this one out to deep right field. Anderson way back, and that should be deep enough to score Bautista. That's back to within 2 on the sac fly.
Now both Reyes and Nido looking to go the other way. Nido does a nice job. He picked on a slider, off-speed pitch, able to drive it out to right. That's first run.
Wheeler swings at the first pitch, pops it up left side. Prado over, leaning, and that one's in to the dugout. Pretty respectable. 12 at bats, 3 hits. And 2 of those 3 hits against lefties. 0-2 to Smith, or from Smith, rather. And another strikeout for Caleb Smith. That's 3 through a couple of innings of work. Marlins get one back, though. 3-1.
3-1 in the third inning. It is a Twitter and email Tuesday, and tonight we are using that hashtag rookies. Did you know that throughout the history of the Marlins franchise, they have had 4 rookies of the year? The first was Dontrell Willis back in 2003, then Hanley Ramirez won it in 2006, Chris Coughlin in 2009, and then of course Jose Fernandez in 2013. And guys, could we see another Marlin win Rookie of the Year? Todd, I know you've talked extensively about how high you are on Brian Anderson.
Brian Anderson's done a very, very nice job this year. All the Jose Fernandez love here at Citi Field.
What a year it was for Jose Fernandez that year. He got 26 first place votes. This is video from his first win. He was ahead of Yasiel Puig, Shelby Miller. Running rampant that year to a 2.19 ERA in 28 starts for the Marlins. Keep the tweets and emails coming on this Twitter Tuesday, all about rookies.
Competition in the National League really starting to pick up as more and more rookies are making their way to the big leagues. Brian Anderson, for me, is right up there as the league leaders, certainly with the job that he's done on the field, although I do think people are catching up pretty quick. Buehler in Los Angeles has gotten everybody's attention on the national level as being part of the no-hitter, and of course his production as well. 2.80 ERA.
Plus he's a Dodger, and you guys have had the inside track on that award, it seems.
There might be something to that. But I think it's going to be good. I mean, listen, there's so much baseball to be played, and so many things are going to be decided as this year goes on. But Brian Anderson right in the middle of it all, as he should be. There he is.
2-2 to Castro. Swung on and missed at 96 upstairs. Second strikeout of the night for Wheeler, and there are 2 away. Or excuse me, the first out of the inning. Time for Lowe's whole team together. Anderson has one of the Marlins hits tonight. This is a club that is 3rd in the National League in singles. He's got 34 on the season. Starlin Castro leading the charge with 49. Miguel Rojas, who has an RBI in this one, also on that list in the top 3.
And I like the start for Brian Anderson. It doesn't bother me a whole lot that maybe you haven't seen enough power, because here's what's happening. He's developing an offensive approach. You watch some of these young kids come up and they're hitting all these home runs, and all of a sudden you see a little regression or a struggle. And then there's 100 unproductive at bats, strikeouts, and everything else to go along with that. Typically, I'm throwing everybody into the pot, but you know what I'm talking about. Brian Anderson has, in some regards, maintained a good 2-strike approach. You know, he's shortened up on guys with high velocity. He's gone the other way. He'll learn how to add and subtract to his approach going up against guys he's more familiar with.
Choking up just a little bit. He's able to hold up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the other thing, listen, we're down the batting cage every day when the Marlins are taking batting practice at home, and we all know Marlins Park is it's a big yard, and sometimes, granted it's batting practice, guys feel like they hit it with all their might and it gets to the track. So if you kind of understand, and as I get this back to Brian Anderson, if you kind of understand that home runs are going to be hard to come by, if you shoot for the gaps in that ballpark, you're going to be productive, and that right now is kind of part of Brian Anderson's game.
Here's my guess. Here's what I believe will happen in the second half this year. You'll see a very similar, consistent approach, but you'll see a slugging percentage that starts to climb. You'll see a few more doubles, a few more home runs, and the power will start to develop. He'll understand where he can get a little bit bigger, who he can get a little bit bigger against, and maybe the ball starts to fly out. Maybe it's just merely the doubles, but I really do believe that slugging percentage will go up in the second half.
On the right field line, but that one slices into the seat. Still 2-2.
I'll tell you what, my rookie season, I first 200, 250 at bats, I choked up literally every pitch because I was, part of it was I was overwhelmed with the stadiums. It just felt like, even looking out to the mound, I was used to, people being closer to me in the minor league stadiums. Here, it seems like it's you and the guy, you and the starting pitcher, and nobody else.
There's a called strike 3.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Speed pitch in there to Derek Dietrich, who had a single, came around to score in that 3-run second inning for the Marlins. They lead at 3-1 here with 2 outs in the third. In the middle game of a 3-game set against the New York Mets. Well, all of a sudden, Wheeler has found the strikeout gear.
He's found the bottom of the zone, especially with the fastball. Climbed back up there, but early in the count, able to consistently get strikes at the bottom of the zone. He was kind of up a little bit. This inning, he seems like he's back where he needs to be.
He struck out 3 consecutive Marlins over the last 2 innings as he misses upstairs to Derek Dietrich. He's lost 3 straight games, or the Mets have lost 3 straight games started by Wheeler. He's 0-2 with an 8.44 ERA in that stretch. This one is sent out to left field. Bautista for the 3rd out. Through 2.5, Marlins in front by a couple at Citi Field. As we go to the bottom of the 3rd here at Citi Field. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
Now, welcome back. This season, Caleb Smith has done a great job. You talked about the process, the conversations the Marlins have had with Caleb Smith. Juan Nieves has had against him. Look at the middle box, the 5-5 box, as I like to call it. Put it back up there for just a quick second. Yeah, right there in the middle. That's a center cut, thigh high fastball. Look what hitters are hitting against Caleb Smith in that middle box. 0-53. Young man, your stuff plays at the major league level. Get it done. And that encourages him to be more aggressive in the strike zone. How about this? When he's ahead in the count, hitters are hitting 191. When he's behind in the count, hitters are hitting 184.
There's a lot of things that point, and listen, we've seen it. There's a lot of things that point to this guy is turning into, if he's not there already, and I get it's early, he's going to be a good starting pitcher. I mean, whether you look at those numbers or his first, second, third time through the order, whatever the numbers are, he has given you every reason to believe that he is going to be a big part of this rotation in 2018, certainly beyond. Swing from Rosario out of the number 9 spot for the Mets.
Rosario has been hot of late. 306 over his last 11 games. Just under 300 out of the 9 spot in the lineup.
Swung on and missed. 4 strikeouts through the first turn through the order. And there's one away here in the third.
Well, there's no better example than everything we just told you. How about the last 2 pitches against Rosario, who we just told you was hitting 306? This is right down the middle of the plate, people. 3-2 pitch. Just blew it right by him.
Nimmo drills one out to right field. Anderson is back, and a step on the track makes the catch for out number 2. Gave that one a ride, but again, bigger part of the ballpark out there in straightaway right field where the wall kind of juts back a little bit. Let them put the ball in play. Let your fielders work.
Sometimes that's the case on a night like tonight where the temperatures are back down, chilly again, dreary, drippy. Get away with a little bit more.
57 degrees at first pitch. It was a beautiful day yesterday. Back down into the high 50s. Asdrubal Cabrera takes ball 1. Cabrera grounded out to Rojas back in the first. And chops one to Prado. And a hop over to Bohr, who sends one right back over to Prado. 3-1. May 27th when the Marlins take on the Nationals at 1 p.m. Pick up the Aquafina Family 4-pack and score 4 tickets, 4 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs, and 4 Pepsi soft drinks or Aquafina waters. Starting at just $84. Get your tickets at marlins.com/offers. Rojas, Brinson, Smith due up here in the top of the 4th inning. All the runs scored on both sides in the 2nd inning. Marlins scored 3. Rojas drove in 1 of them. Real Muto drove in the other 2. Bottom of the inning, a sacrifice fly from Tomas Nido got the Mets back to within a couple. Another base hit for Miguel Rojas, who has stayed hot, stayed consistent throughout the season, but stayed hot as of late. As he fouls this one back, 2-1. 2-2. As we remind you, it is a Twitter email Tuesday, so let's get into a couple right here. This one from Jason, a Mets fan in Florida, but likes the Marlins as well. In the spirit of what you're talking about tonight, rookies, what prospect in the Marlins minor league system are you most looking forward to or think will have the greatest impact on the big league club?
That's a great question. I think in the short term, probably go Sandy Alcantara. I think he's going to be here sooner rather than later. 46 innings, AAA this season. Ball on the left side. Just out of the inning. Sandy's off to a great start. 37 punch outs and 46 innings of work. One thing I love about him is that he's been great throughout his minor league career, keeping the ball in the yard. Heavy 98-mile-an-hour fastball with late sinking action. That plays up here. We watched him in spring training throw that pitch almost exclusively with really no combination of a productive secondary pitch and regularly get big league hitters out.
Lewis Brinson. Strike 1. He lined out to Bautista back in the 2nd inning. And that was the thing about Alcantara going back to the spring. There was some chatter outside the organization that, hey, he could break camp with the organization. And when he was told that he would start the year in the minor leagues, they said there's just a little bit of refinement that still needs to be done because he's the type of guy that you hope once he gets up here, he stays up here.
You certainly don't want to shuttle for him. That's right.
I will say the shuttle is a little bit better for the Marlins than it is the Mets. New Orleans to Miami as opposed to Queens to Vegas as Brinson goes around. It's the 2nd out of the inning and 4th strikeout for Wheeler.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
There's Caleb Smith. Smith was up back in that 3-run 2nd inning. Had a couple of runners aboard. Popped up the bunt toward third base. It fell in front of Jose Reyes. He hesitated. Threw low to first. Smith reached. And the Marlins ended up scoring 3 runs in that inning. Wheeler's up to 72 pitches with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Caleb likes the ball up much better than he likes it down. Difference between the 2 fastball swings he just took.
And a called strike 3. 7 in a row set down by Wheeler. But it's the Marlins up a pair here in Queens. on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. Back here at Citi Field, middle game of a 3-game set. Marlins up 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Speaking of this 3-game series, tomorrow Dan Straley is on the mound for the Marlins. Jacob deGrom on the bump for the New York Mets. deGrom has been very good this season. Already seen the Marlins at one point this year. Seems to be sharp no matter where he pitches, who he pitches against. So we'll see if the Marlins have an answer for deGrom tomorrow. Perhaps their answer is that man right there, Dan Straley. No slouch in his own right.
It is their answer. Absolutely outstanding his last time out. There you go. You don't have to strike out 14 to start to be good. Look at those numbers. Getting better.
Upstairs to Wilmer Flores. Flores, Conforto, Bautista for the Mets against Caleb Smith, who has 4 strikeouts. He's walked 1 through the first 3 innings. Strike on the inside corner, 1-1. Bautista with the only hit, and he came around to score on the Nido sac fly in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Now 1-2 to Flores.
Now you see that an awful lot from right-handed hitters. Now I was a lefty, and I really do believe this is the take against Caleb Smith. You see how his mechanics kind of set up, and he throws across that front side, hides the ball really well. You watch right-handed hitters give up on pitches on the inside corner all the time. I think they see it very well.
Right center field, Anderson drifts over. Line drive out, but 1 away. Again, it's Smith. Check that. Straley and deGrom tomorrow. Marlins live pregame show on the air, 6:30. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson, as we get ready for the last game of this 2-city road trip before a quick 3-game homestand, an off day Thursday, and then the Washington Nationals in town Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a lengthy road trip through San Diego, Arizona, and St. Louis for the Marlins. And a lot of road games upcoming. This is one of the tougher stretches, at least in terms of home road for the Marlins. 4 games into a stretch in which they're playing 16 of 19 away from Marlins Park. Outside to Conforto, who struck out back in the 1st inning.
Conforto chased at the top of the strike zone, 93 miles an hour. See that quite often. He likes to go up top, put hitters away, especially the lefties. Caleb is not your traditional lefty in the sense that you get to 2 strikes. Most left-handed hitters think, all right, here we go, steady a diet of sliders. Caleb won't always go to the slider, go to the fastball up or away.
There's a couple of things at play when you're doing what Caleb Smith has been doing, certainly over the course of the last month or so, and what the Marlins want their pitchers to do, and just kind of attack hitters. I mean, we saw Eliezer Hernandez do the same thing last night. You go out there and you pitch to contact, you'll rack up the strikeouts like Smith just got of Conforto right there, but you also get deeper into the ball games and help the bullpen.
54 pitches into the night. He's doing a fantastic job. Well, sets up the elevated fastball. It's exactly what I'm talking about. As a left-handed hitter, a lot of times you think, all right, I'm down 2 strikes to this tough lefty. He's got a good slider. He's going to throw it. He's going to throw it again and again until he gets me out. Caleb does not go about his business that way. He'll show you the slider, but he likes to go up top with that fastball.
There's Eliezer Hernandez. Another solid start from him last night. 5 innings. He's now pitched 10 as a starter. And he's been impressive.
I had a great conversation with Juan Nieves this morning in regards to Hernandez. just raving about the ability to change the game plan from one start to the next. Remember, he's only made 2 big league starts. He came out, he had a good slider, threw it at the front of at bats. Got ahead of hitters with the slider. His first start, he threw many more changeups than sliders. In fact, only threw 4. Maybe it was 5. Small number, regardless. We saw 15 yesterday.
Ball and 2 strikes to Bautista, who doubled and scored back in the 2nd inning. And he comes up empty there. Another strikeout. That is now 6 for Caleb Smith. Sharp once again. 3-1 Marlins.
Heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Back here at Citi Field, Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, Zach Wheeler on the mound, Martin Prado, JT Realmuto, and Justin Bohr. Marlins up 3-1. They scored 3 runs in the 2nd inning. As they some hard hit balls off of Zach Wheeler, who has since settled down. A 1-2-3 4th inning, a 1-2-3 3rd inning. He has certainly gotten into a groove the last couple of innings. The Marlins try to add on to this 2-run lead. Prado unable to hold up. 1-2. A ground out in the 1st and an infield fly rule pop up back in the 2nd. And a called strike 3. It's now 6 strikeouts.
Wheeler has definitely hit his stride. He's found his slider along with the 4-seam fastball dialed in.
He set down 8 in a row, 6 on the strikeout.
One guy he hasn't been able to figure out is this young man, JT Realmuto. A couple of hits, a couple of RBIs.
His 9th multi-hit effort of the year. Count even up a ball and a strike. Well, I think you've nailed it again, Ollie, on the numbers for the pitchers and what to look for and kind of get him early. As Flores flips to Wheeler. continues to roll along through this Marlins lineup.
Well, a lot of times the numbers don't lie. You just kind of find the paper trail and you'll see a way to breaking them down. And clearly, early on in this game, whether it's the first 25 pitches that we're talking about or the fact that he had that bloated first inning ERA, the Marlins look to be a little bit more aggressive early in this game against that fastball. Right now, he's in a tremendous rhythm. There hasn't been a hard hit ball since the second inning.
Well, there haven't been many balls in play either. As I said, 6 strikeouts in the last 9 batters.
And I think in some regards over the last couple of seasons, this is where the Mets probably are slightly frustrated with Wheeler. You watch him at times and you're like, this is elite. 4 pitches, uses them all well. He's locked in, he's hitting the zone, he throws 96 miles an hour, and you say, well, he's trailing the Marlins 3-1. He's done this a lot this year.
2-0 now to Bohr. Originally the 6th overall pick by the Giants in 2009, Zach Wheeler, same year that Steven Strasburg went number 1 overall. He was traded to the Mets for Carlos Beltran right around the deadline in 2011. Long run for Reyes, but it won't matter. That one is into the seat. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
The difference between Wheeler now and at the beginning of the ball game, almost exclusively using the fastball. Marlins hitters able to time him up better. Now you see the Marlins hitters having to protect against the secondary stuff. Gets that 96 to play up.
A 28-pitch second inning. Since then in a groove against the Marlins. Approaching 90 pitches here with 2 outs in the 5th. And a base hit into right field for Justin Bohr. Time for this date in Major League Baseball history, presented to you by Geico. Longtime Marlin Mike Piazza, 5 days, 5 games, that's it. Traded from the Marlins to the Mets for Preston Wilson, Ed Yarnall, and a player to be named later. In 5 games with the Marlins, he was 5 for 18, a triple and 5 RBIs. I don't think there was any debate whether or not he'd go into Cooperstown as a Marlin. Slow roller to third. Reyes throws, and that one gets by Flores. On his way to third is Bohr. He'll stop right there. Castro to second. And the inning continues. Now 2 runners in scoring position.
Reyes having a tough night. Had to throw on the run. Probably a little moisture on the baseball. By Starlin getting out of the box and putting pressure on Reyes to be quick. It's probably going to be his 2nd error of the night, and it is.
So now Bohr on third, Castro on second, and here is Brian Anderson. There for a called strike. Officially for Castro, an infield single and an E5. But 2 in scoring position nonetheless for Miami. Anderson a double and a run scored in the 2nd.
341 with runners in scoring position this season. .308 with 2 outs. There they are. Very respectable, well above league average. Impressive stuff. That's why you find him parked in the middle of this Marlins lineup on a daily basis. He's got his work cut out. Wheeler's ahead 0-2.
The only rookie to play in every one of his team's games. He has contributed. That one is lined right into the Mets dugout. There's David Wright. Face of the Mets. There we go. Now you can see him.
I do wonder if they still maintain any level of hope that he will ever play again. Always the rumors.
I would imagine if he's in the dugout in uniform in some form or fashion. Yeah, no?
Well, it's been a while. Those career numbers. You're right. Certainly the face of the organization for a very long time.
Tipped into the glove of Nito. Halfway through this one, Marlins up 3-1. There, and the Marlins up 3-1 to this point. Another strong start for Smith, 6 strikeouts.
Well, he's dialing it up once again. Dominant fastball. There's 93 miles an hour. There's the slider right off that fastball at 81. It's right down the middle of the plate there. Elevated to Conforto, and hello. Yeah, big sweep.
1 walk, 6 strikeouts. As Jose Reyes bunts but pulls it back, a ball and no strikes.
Great work so far for Caleb Smith. 60 pitches here in the 5th.
Reyes, Nito, and Wheeler due up in the 5th inning for the Mets. Reyes grounded out to second base back in the 2nd inning. Two and 1. Again for Smith, just trying to get back on track. Last start, 3 innings, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts against the Dodgers, but in 4 starts prior to that, as we noted before, 24 innings pitched, 31 strikeouts, a 1.50 ERA and a 1.67 batting average against. Reyes, left field line, and that one is into the seats, 2-2. He said after his last start, Caleb Smith, that he didn't have it. The control wasn't there from the start of the game. Didn't hit his spots. Didn't get ahead of many hitters. He was frustrated. Felt like he was making progress, and that game was a bit of a step backward. But that he was going to look forward, face the control issue. to this point he has, as Reyes lines one into right field. A leadoff hit here in the 5th.
Despite his struggles in the month of May and his struggles tonight defensively, Reyes will be happy with this base hit. A form of redemption. Elevated fastball, 93 miles an hour. He's gone up there. Caleb Smith has gone up there, picked up 3 strikeouts. Reyes' approach tonight benefited him, staying inside the baseball.
Tomas Nido, who had that sacrifice fly back in inning number 2. First pitch swinging, left side. Prado, Castro, boom! A double play.
Well, this is what you love to get right after a base hit. One pitch later, to Hopper, Prado, quick exchange to Starlin Castro. And oh, by the way, how much faster has he been getting at second base on these turns? Even in real time, hard to keep up with Starlin Castro. Well done.
And now Zach Wheeler bats with nobody on base and 2 outs. Wheeler struck out back in the 2nd inning. Head the count here, 2 balls and no strikes. And lines one into center field, a base hit. Another knock for Zach Wheeler, his 4th of the year and 3rd against the lefty.
Well, he definitely hunts fastballs, and he got one. Not over the plate. You know what? I'm sitting up here thinking, if he's ever going to give up a hit to a pitcher, this isn't a bad spot to do it. The reason I say that is Wheeler's hitting 8th tonight. You know, ideally, part of the structuring of a lineup, you stick Wheeler in the 8 hole and you put a player like Rosario, who's been hot, but again, producing at the bottom of the lineup. You're essentially breaking up your leadoff hitters right now if you can put Rosario down.
But Rosario has been a tough out over his last 14 games, entering this one a .304 hitter. It was set down on strikes back in the 3rd, takes upstairs 1-1. Robert Gazelman stirring. Saw Seth Lugo last night, one of the Mets converted starters. Out of the bullpen last night, and Gazelman, another one of those guys who has certainly found a role for himself on this club as a reliever. Give you innings, plural.
Selman and Lugo have been the backbone of the bullpen, honestly.
Chance for another strikeout here for Caleb Smith, who has 6 of them. But Rosario pops this one up. Foul ground, Bohr has room and puts it away. Leadoff base hit erased by a double play. 2-out hit by the pitcher, but no runs, 3-1. for the Marlins as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Derek Dietrich, Miguel Rojas, and Lewis Brinson due up against Zach Wheeler, who has certainly settled in after surrendering 3 runs in the 2nd inning. Gave up some hard contact, but so far since then has been a different pitcher, or at least gotten some much different results. 7 strikeouts on the night, and all 7 coming after he gave up the 3 runs.
You see the 7 hits. It was a big 2nd inning. For that inning, it's factoring in Brinson's line out, which was an absolute rocket off the bat. But since then, you're right, has been quite dominant. No walks, 95 pitches. It's a bullpen activity for the Mets, even as this inning starts.
Breaking ball is in there for a called strike to Derek Dietrich. Singled and scored back in that 2nd inning. Also flew out to Jose Bautista in left. Quickly 0-2.
That's a pretty good example of what Wheeler's been doing. First pitch curveball, easy take. Marlins hitters would be sitting on the fastball. Again, he throws very hard. Gets that over and goes right back to the slider. Still hasn't even thrown a fastball yet.
Ollie, alert the masses. There's a starter that is approaching the 100 pitches.
That's right.
He's at 97 right now. And he may keep pitching. He keeps pitching like this. That's 8 strikeouts downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey guys, there's no doubt that a lot of young players are getting their opportunity to be on the field for the Marlins this season. And not only are they playing, but they're contributing as well. Take a look at the breakdown of rookie contributions this season. 22% of the runs scored, 22% of the home runs, and 28% of the RBIs. That's 3rd in Major League Baseball. And how about the innings pitched by rookies? Almost 35%. Guys, that ranks 1st in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Jessica, thanks. And again, we knew this coming in. Yes, there are some veterans on this club, Justin Bohr and JT Realmuto, Martin Prado, the list goes on. But there was a lot of youth with this club, and that was part of, what was going to be expected of this team, the ups and the downs. And it seems as though they have been able to spread the wealth among these youngsters to contribute on a daily basis at the big league level.
Opportunity for the younger players has been there, and competition as well.
One of the rookies, Lewis Brinson, on deck. 1-1 to Miguel Rojas, who had an RBI single in the 2nd. A lot of strikes tonight for Zach Wheeler. In the air, right side toward the seats, giving it look is Flores, but that one up over the netting, still 1-2.
Advantage hitter right there. Can't help but think that maybe Flores would have had a play if that net wasn't there, right? Extended netting this season around Major League Baseball.
And certainly thankful that it's there, of course.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm not implying that it doesn't need to be there, just merely that used to seeing first basemen kind of reach into the seats and grab a snack, some popcorn, and make a catch every now and then.
Thinking the same thing I was thinking. A strikeout looking. That is now 9 for Wheeler.
Dials up the 96 on the outside corner, and then some. A little bit off that edge.
Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Johnny Santos last night against Kannapolis, a couple of home runs. In May, hitting .370. As an international free agent back in 2013.
From 2 home runs last night. That's absolutely outstanding. Look at those incredible May numbers. He is loving it right now. Done.
0-1 to Brinson. Chopper. It's Rosario on the run. A stretch by Flores. And another 1-2-3 inning for Wheeler. Through 5.5. Marlins up 3-1. Welcome back. Time for our Coors Timeless Moments. May 22nd, 2006. Marlins won that game 9-1. Thanks in part to Ricky Nolasco, not just his pitching, but also his hitting.
Of course.
A home run in his first big league hit. How about that?
You see all that lack of enthusiasm in the dugout as he was coming in right there?
Yes.
His teammates not slapping his hands. Most of those the players going, dude, you just made that look so easy. You just hit a home run. And we're the ones paid to hit.
The inadvertent silent treatment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Like, man, that's just evil. What are you doing to me, man?
Not cool, man. Not cool. Not cool. Borrowing somebody's bat and taking all the hits out of it. Brandon Nimmo to lead things off. Nimmo, Cabrera, Flores, top third of the order here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Marlins up 3-1. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock with you. Middle game of a 3-game set between these two National League East rivals. Not going to be back in Queens until September. So enjoy the Big Apple while we're here. Not that Big Apple, because if that Big Apple comes out, that means the Mets have hit a home run in the city. No, we don't need to see that at all. Nimmo tonight 0 for 2, a strikeout looking back in the first, and flew out to Anderson in the third. One of 6 strikeouts for Caleb Smith, who was at 77 pitches. Twitter email Tuesday, as we just showed you. I've got one here on Lewis Brinson. Ferreo is asking, or Rayo, I'm not sure which is which, but either way, this person knows who they are. Why do the Marlins keep Brinson on the team? I feel like he needs more time in the minor leagues. Holly, what say you?
Well, it's a good question. I certainly understand why somebody would ask that if you were to look at his big league numbers this year. Listen, young man has done very good things in the minor leagues throughout his career. If I were to tell you right now that he has to go back to AAA and work on something and prove himself, I think you'd say, well, wait a minute, why? He was the Brewers Player of the Year last year. Tremendous numbers across the board. 331. That's what he hit last year with a 400 on-base percentage, 562 slugging percentage in AAA. Here's what ends up happening. You got to learn the major league game. I've said this since the day I've had my career. It started. I lived through the minor leagues, got to the big leagues, played out my career, and walked away. Nice fastball right there. Nimmo down. Strikeout number 7. Here's what you have to understand, fans. You've got to learn the big league game at the big league level. They don't teach it in the minor leagues. And the problem that sometimes you have, he goes back down there. Let's just say hypothetically, and does exactly what I said he did last year numbers-wise. And then he comes back, what's he say to himself? Still got to prove it up here. Still got to get it done right here. He has not shown 1 ounce. He hasn't dropped his head. He's not feeling sorry for himself through some of his struggles. He's maintained a positive attitude, continues to play solid defense in center field. Don Mattingly has said all along, as long as that's the story, he's going to continue to learn how to do it up here at the major league level.
Well, that has also been the story from Don Mattingly, is that, to your point about the minor leagues and his success down there, he's proven all he needs to prove at the minor league level. So you pair that with the fact that the last maybe week, 10 days, the coaching staff has been a lot more satisfied with the quality of his at-bats and the quality of his contact as Cabrera flies out to right field for the second out.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
We talked about this a week or so ago. I think it was in Atlanta, so less than a week ago. We looked at the batting average and said, okay, well, he's where he is now. He's not going to be a 350 hitter next week. It's going to take time. It's the same thing when a team is, 12 games under 500. The chatter in the dugout in the clubhouse is, let's get it to 10, and then let's get it to 5, and then let's get to even 500 again, and then you start creeping forward. He can't have 13 hits in a night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It'll take time.
Now, and the process gets elongated if he goes down. I mean, not that he can't go down and find his swing and come back and maybe be more productive. But again, you're not processing what's going on up here. I mean, that's what you've got to learn the game.
Soft looper out to Dietrich. And a 1-2-3-6 for Caleb Smith. Still rolling. Marlins up 3-1. Queens, to be exact. 7th inning we go. It is a 3-1 Marlins lead. All the scoring in the second. Marlins with a 3-run inning against Zach Wheeler, who is now out of the ball game. Adrian Gonzalez is in the ball game at first, and on the mound is Robert Gesellman.
Strong numbers from Gesellman this season. 2.76 ERA, just under 30 innings pitched. Done a very, very nice job. Stuff plays up now in the bullpen, as opposed to when he was a starter.
Smith to lead off. He clearly hitting for himself here in the 7th inning. Then Martin Prado and JT Realmuto. Chops one right back up the middle. On the run, Cabrera makes the play. One away. Well, with Wheeler out of the ball game after 6 innings of work, 7 hits allowed, and 9 strikeouts. What did you think of Zach Wheeler tonight?
No, 1 bad inning. I mean, I guess the one thing that stands out in my mind, you know, looking at Wheeler's arsenal and certainly how he dominated tonight, why doesn't he bring that arsenal to the table a little sooner? You look at what the Marlins did. They played to the script, able to get on that fastball in the 2nd inning. Good aggressive at bats. In fact, we had 4 consecutive at bats where the ball was hit hard. 3 hits turns into 3 runs and the lead in this game. I bet that's probably what he's saying to himself right now. Talk about the splitty at 92, the good curveball, spotted it at times, got ahead of hitters, and then had the good slider to go along with it. Those weren't easy for the Marlins to deal with.
Ball and 2 strikes to Martin Prado.
You're seeing the sinker from Gesellman. It's his pitch of choice. Throws it about 51% of the time. As I said, it was playing up last year as a starter, right in that 91-92 range. Here as a reliever, now throwing 94-95. Good slider to go along with it. Has a curve and a change as well. Gesellman picked up a save his last time out, a 5-out save, in fact. Struck out the side in the 9th.
And a strikeout of Prado. 2 away here in the 7th inning. Well, folks, it is time for the big story. Let's go out to batting practice in Toronto. Look at where this ball ends up. Shohei Ohtani into the upper tank. This traveled a mile.
1, 2, 3. Is that 3 decks or 4?
I think it's 5 up there.
Up there, yeah.
I think up there it's 5. Wow. Man, oh man. DH in tonight's ball game in Toronto.
We've been talking rookies all night long. I'll tell you, I'm not sure anybody can push Ohtani hard enough for the American League Rookie of the Year. I think there's going to be people that are going to have a hard time placing a value on what he's brought this season. Meaning, if it continues down the path that it has, he's been tremendous on the mound and he's been tremendous with the bat. How can you argue anybody else? I mean, if I give you a hitter that hit 25, 30 homers and 500 at bats,
right,
and Ohtani doesn't get nearly as many at bats, hits, let's just say, 17 homers in 300 at bats, I still think there's a very good chance he's going to get everybody's vote based on this incredible story.
The likelihood of it happening, slim, but can you imagine a Rookie of the Year, a Cy Young, and an MVP? It won't happen, but like what? I mean, you could make a case that he's in the conversation somehow, right?
Well,
he may get votes for all 3. How about that?
It's his teammates. His teammates in center field that does that.
But he might get votes for all 3.
Yeah, he very well. I bet he will.
Real Muto, a base hit through the left side. 3rd hit tonight for JT. That is his 3rd 3-hit game of the season. And climbing up the list, our Florida Lottery in-game jackpot of multi-hit games this season.
Oh, good at bats tonight. Pretty good example of what JT can do with the bat. So this ball working its way down below the knees, drives it into left field for his 3rd hit. Sinker. He is a tough out.
He's in the top 3 among catchers in OPS. Francisco Cervelli in Pittsburgh at 934. Gary Sanchez with the Yankees at 931. And JT is at 918. Check back at Real Muto, and he is there safely. Tomas Nido doing his best Wilson Contreras impression.
real nice at bat in the 5th inning by Justin Bohr. Resulted in a base hit to right.
These two have seen each other quite a bit. Bohr 1 for 9. A couple of RBIs, a walk, and a strikeout against Gesellman. Full count to Bohr will give JT a head start over at first. Bohr entered this ball game with the 2nd highest walk percentage in baseball behind Bryce Harper. He will add to it with another base on balls, 2 on 2 out in the 7th.
Another quality at bat from the big guy. Patient, give in. Someone did not want to throw him a good strike.
Pitching coach Dave Island out to talk with Gesellman. Island regarded as one of the better pitching coaches in baseball. As Drew Steckenrider loosening up. So you pair Island with Mickey Callaway, who was the pitching coach for a while under Terry Francona in Cleveland. And then you add all the arms that the Mets have, and you figured, well, this pitching staff was going to lead the charge for this club. But on opening day, Matt Harvey was here. He no longer is. Zach Wheeler, I mean, against the Marlins, he looks terrific. It's been against everybody else that he's yet to really find his groove. And then, of course, there's DeGrom and Syndergaard, who are good against anybody. We'll see DeGrom tomorrow night.
Well, Starlin Castro, very good in these situations. 314 on the season, 273 runners in scoring position, and 2 outs.
First plate appearance in his career against Gesellman. You can see the breath on the pitchers. You know it's cold. It is May 22nd. I mean, enough already. Realmuto at first, or at second rather, he singled, and Bohr at first, he walked. A 1-2 to Castro.
Good take.
Oh, nice.
A lot of action on that sinking fastball. This is a great take by Starlin Castro. He's looking for the ground ball, and that is down the middle. I tell you time and time again, as a hitter, sometimes so hard to lay off down, meaning down in the zone when it's down the middle of the plate. Gesellman 8 1/3 scoreless inning streak coming into tonight's appearance.
Wheeler went the first 6, struck out 9. But it's the Marlins with a 3-1 lead here in the 7th. And once again, Castro calls time. Another meeting on the mound. The Mets are going to be down to 2. The drama builds.
One team, we noticed it last night, they weren't afraid to use their 6. They did that last night with all the mound visits. Was it 5 relievers last night or 6? I think it was 5.
Five relievers, 6 pitchers. Inside to Castro. Twists out of the way of that one. And the count runs full.
Now this sinking fastball, a little bit more run than sink. Nice job getting out of the way. Now advantage Starlin Castro and the Marlins as the runners will be in motion.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Starlin Castro. Marlins looking to add on to a 2-run lead. Runner goes, and once again spoiled. With all these 3-2 pitches and 2 outs, JT and JB getting their cardio in tonight. Back and forth they go. Zellman got the first 2 outs of this inning on 7 pitches. Working a lot harder to Castro here. Soon it's going to be like the home run derby where they bring a towel and the Gatorade out to the runners.
Great at bat by Castro. Continues to fight off the tough pitches. Here with 2 strikes. So he can get himself something he can handle. Someone up near 30 now.
Once again, the payoff pitch. On the ground to Rosario. And the inning is over. Marlins strand a couple, but still lead it 3-1. Summary, Zach Wheeler and Caleb Smith, the two starting pitchers tonight, both extremely good. Just the second inning, it's where all the offense was scored. First, the Marlins with an RBI single there by Miguel Rojas. Miami takes a 1-0 lead. JT Realmuto, seeing eye single up the middle, kicked by Cabrera. 2-run score, 3-0 Miami at that point, but the Mets answer back. Tomas Nido with a sacrifice fly out to right field. They'll score. Jose Bautista signed just an hour or so before the game tonight. That's been it. Pitchers have done their job outside of that second inning, but it's the Marlins up 3-1, and Caleb Smith is back out on the mound here in the 7th.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. He hit in the bottom of the inning, or I should say the top, I guess. Good to see him back out for the 7th. 87 pitches. This is a spot that I think Don Mattingly a few weeks ago might have taken him out and said, all right, let's get to the bullpen now. Bullpen's been struggling a bit of late. But why take Caleb Smith out? We talk about the progression, the next step. This is going to be a pretty good example as he has to go through the middle of this Mets lineup to get through the 7th.
Just off the edge to Conforto. After him, Bautista and Reyes. Again, third time through here for the Mets. The numbers coming into this one: 174 opponents hitting against Caleb Smith first time through, 235 second time through the lineup, and 200 third time through the lineup. So again, I mean, a joke before that Wheeler was approaching 100 pitches. Stop the presses, alert the masses. Well, when you're rolling, let your guy go. 2-2.
Caleb Smith has gone 7 innings one other time, April 29th versus the Colorado Rockies. It was fantastic that day. 7 innings, 2 hits, 9 Ks.
That's the only other time that he has pitched into the 7th inning. Conforto gives it a ride to left center field. Brinson back, leaping and making the catch up against the wall.
Yes, sirree, getting it done. That's another reason why young Brinson continues to play at the major league level. Outstanding defense, and it's our fresh catch of the day. Of course it is. Nice leaping grab at the wall. Does a nice job getting himself there and giving himself a chance. Talk about it all the time. You don't want to see a running catch into the wall. Get yourself into position.
Jose Bautista smokes that one foul. 0-1.
Nice job tracking that all the way through. Conforto, good swing.
You hear so much about outfielders and they run, and when their heels hit the ground, the ball kind of bounces on them a little bit.
They run on those toes. Smooth is not a problem for Brinson, young Brinson. He's got that down, especially when he starts to open it up, gets that gait going, those long strides. You could tell. You just watch somebody's head. On the other hand, there's a lot of bounce most of the time. Your frame.
Bautista doubled and scored in the 2nd. The Mets' only run. Struck out in the 4th. 1 of 7 strikeouts tonight for Smith. They check. No swing. That is a swing, and that's 8 strikeouts tonight for Caleb Smith. 2 away in the 7th.
Marlins fans, on select games this season, one lucky fan will be awarded a car during the middle of the 8th inning. Marlins Year of the Fan Sweepstakes presented by Auto Nation. Marlins fans are automatically entered to win when your digital ticket is scanned on eligible dates. For official rules, visit marlins.com/YofSweepstakes today.
The first pitch to Jose Reyes misses upstairs. It is now 99 pitches for Caleb Smith. He's gotten to 100 before, did so in his first start of the season against the Chicago Cubs.
Well, didn't get quite as many outs, I believe, that day.
Did not. 5 1/3. 101 pitches. 2 starts ago against the Braves. 5 1/3.
I'll tell you what, Caleb is game planning so well right now. I mean, the Batista at bat was a great example. He picked up his second strike in the at bat on an elevated fastball just off the outside corner. Went to the slider, Batista laid off. Where did he go to get the last strike? Right back to that same spot, and Batista swung through it. Great job by Smith.
A new career high in pitches for him at 103.
He wants to be aggressive here with Reyes.
That is his first walk issued since there were 2 outs in the first. Nito will come up as the tying run. That's going to do it for Caleb Smith. He goes 6 2/3 tonight, 8 strikeouts. He leaves with a 3-1 lead. Another great effort by Caleb Smith. Time for this Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Drew Steckenrider in. Marlins up 3-1. But the tying run is coming to the plate. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Don't miss your chance to play for the massive Powerball jackpot. Pick your lucky numbers and get your Powerball ticket at any Florida Lottery retailer. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. A great bounce back start for Caleb Smith. 6 2/3, 8 strikeouts. Line not complete, however. Responsible for the runner at first base, Jose Reyes, who drew just the second walk of the night for Smith. Devin Mesoraco into pinch hit against Drew Steckenrider. And Mesoraco takes upstairs. For Steckenrider has been so good throughout the last calendar year, but his last 2, maybe 3 outings, something's been missing. I don't know if it's the slider, the fastball control. What are you seeing from him?
Well, I think it's a combination. I'd probably tell you the secondary pitches haven't been great, but the spectacular fastball command that he's had really through his young career has left him over his last 3 outings. He gets that back to get right back in gear.
Delivers a 1-1 to Mesoraco and misses away at 95 miles an hour. 2-1.
Well, be careful of Mesoraco. 8 games with the Mets, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. A couple of days ago, he took Archie Bradley deep.
Popped up left side, and that will reach the seats. 2-2.
They have a little advantage on Mesoraco. Remember yesterday in the ball game, a little bit of a backswing from Rojas, and it caused that left arm, that left tricep to swell up really, really well. Steckenrider, you talk about extension and keeping your arms inside. I'm pretty convinced Mesoraco didn't get the start tonight. It's because of that swing.
Yeah, he got hit on a couple of backswings yesterday.
Right.
Not only Rojas, but having talked to Brian Anderson today, it was actually the Anderson backswing that got him even more, more flush. But you're right, and that's what we thought last night, was that it was the Rojas. Runner goes, and into the seats. We'll see another 3-2 pitch.
When you talk about extension, you know, wanting to get your swing out there, especially on a particular pitch away. Steckenrider's done a nice job of setting it up with the fastball lit at 96. You wonder if Mesoraco can really extend that lead arm. If he can stay out there, he'll probably get what he wants.
Long run in for Anderson, but he's there. Ran a country mile.
He did.
To put that one away. 6 2/3 strong from Caleb Smith. The Marlins up 3-1. Effort tonight by Caleb Smith, getting right back on track. Again, mentioned the last start that he had against the Dodgers, but in the 4 starts prior to that, 31 strikeouts and a 1.50 ERA. As Devin Mesoraco stays in the ball game, having pinch hit for Tomas Nido, and flying out a brand new battery, catcher and pitcher, as AJ Ramos back out there. Second consecutive game that the Marlins have seen him.
4.50 ERA on the season for Ramos. Bring the arsenal. 4-seam fastball, cutter, slider, curveball, change. Yeah, he's got it all, and you're probably going to see it throughout the 8th inning. And the arsenal has not changed, although the role has. He's familiar, the closer for the Mets. Putting together another nice season. To a good start. Big May for Familia.
After Anderson, Dietrich, and Rojas. Ball and 2 strikes. Double and a run scored for Anderson. A couple of strikeouts as well. 9 on the night for Mets starter Zach Wheeler. But it's Miami up by 2 as Anderson drills one down the left field line, and it is foul.
Anderson fooled just a little bit. Nice job with the bottom hand, pulling his knob, pulling that bat across the body and cutting this off. He's picked up his 3rd home run of the season.
A 2-2 now. Foul right back here. And a heck of a grab right in front of us. Nice job. Sounded like it might have been a broken hand, but that's okay. No, I'm kidding. Very nice catch. Again, a 2-2 to Anderson. Thought about it.
Good take, good take. Let's break the ball down. It's not easy to do. Fantastic approach. Leave it alone.
And now the payoff pitch. Good at bat for Brian Anderson. He is aboard to lead off the 8th. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey guys, as far as tonight's Twitter and email Tuesday, we've been using that hashtag rookies. I threw out the question on Twitter, what are some of the rookies that have been impressive around Major League Baseball? Here are the names that I have seen so far. For the National League, of course, the Marlins' own Brian Anderson. I also saw some love for the Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies. And another fan pointing out Juan Soto, who got off to a good start yesterday for the Nationals. As far as the American League, Miguel Andujar and, of course, Shohei Ohtani.
And Dietrich out to deep right field. That one is gone. A 2-run home run for Derek Dietrich. It's now 5-1 Marlins.
It certainly has to feel very good for Double D. It's his old teammate, AJ Ramos. AJ not happy about it, I'm sure. Dietrich swinging the bat very, very well over the last couple of ball games. I'm just sitting here pondering Dietrich's approach, and you've seen him get a few hits the other way, starting to barrel up once again. That swing coming back around and just absolutely unloaded.
Way to be real humble about it.
Insurance runs the Marlins looking for. There you go.
Now Rojas pops this one up left side. Reyes for the first out.
Sometimes as a hitter, you get in the box after a great at bat from Anderson or a walk, and you say, all right, I'm going to look to be aggressive right here. Ramos just worked hard to Anderson, didn't get the pitches he wanted. Dietz jumps in there, gets the first good fastball up in the zone, and unloads. Siree. Number 4 on the season.
So some breathing room after the first homer of this series by either club. A 4-run cushion for Brinson and the Marlins.
Well, I was thinking back to Dietrich's double last night down the left field line. He barreled up. Good swing right there. His base hit tonight the other way as well. You jump in there, and all of a sudden they're thinking, oh, I'm just going to go a little fastball away with Dietrich right here, and you jump him.
Bearclaw figures to work the 8th inning with at least a 4-run lead now after the 2-run home run by Dietrich.
Take one more look at the elevation of this pitch. This is how he sees it. He says, all I have to do is level off. I'm going to be on time. 90 miles an hour, top of the zone. Siree, or 2 miles an hour off the bat. 380 feet. I'll tell you, on a night like tonight, that ball was crushed. Cold temperatures, rain in the air, misty night.
Hoping that the Marlins offense would come back to life after scoring 9 runs on Sunday. Shutout last night. And they've got 5 on the board right now as Brinson takes upstairs 2-2.
No, they'd only had 1 run. Now remember, the Mets have beaten the Marlins all 4 games this year. Last 20 innings, Marlins only scored 1 run coming into tonight. How many of those games are you going to win?
Not many. I'm not clear on every rule, but I think you have to score at least 1 to win. I'll have to double check.
You're right.
Thanks. So you got the internet over there? You figured it out?
I'm confirming it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Inside, 3-2. J.B. Shuck is on deck. That would be the number 9 spot.
Well, only the 2nd home run Ramos has surrendered this season.
Cut on and missed. 2nd strikeout here in the 8th.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
So it is, in fact, J.B. Shuck to hit in the number 9 spot. So expect to see Kyle Bearclaw in the bottom of the 8th. Marlins up 5-1. A hit in 5 of 7 career games against the Mets, including a home run for J.B. Shuck. That one up and in. Didn't mean to, but fouled it off. And it ricochets all the way out to just in front of third base. .21 pitches, 14 strikes for Ramos, but one of those strikes 385 feet away. A home run for Derek Dietrich that has extended the Marlins lead to 5-1. Trying to even up this series, and a game apiece, setting up a rubber match tomorrow night. Dan Straley goes for the Marlins. Jacob deGrom on the mound for the Mets. And Shuck out to center field. Conforto. But 2 more runs in the 8th inning for the Marlins on 1 swing from Derek Dietrich. 2-run homer. Marlins up 4. Jessica Blaylock. A 5-1 lead for the Marlins. A 2-run home run for Derek Dietrich, who gives way to J.B. Shuck out in left field. A 4-run cushion now for the Marlins as Kyle Bearclaw, the third pitcher of the night for Miami, takes over after 6 2/3 strong innings from Caleb Smith. Drew Steckenrider got the last out of the 7th, and now Bearclaw in for the 23rd time this year.
Fantastic season for Bearclaw. Continues to get it done. 23rd game. Sub-2 ERA. Comes in at 166. 2 earned runs over his last 17 appearances. 106 ERA. Fastball, great slider, good change.
Adrian Gonzalez to lead things off. A strike came in as part of a double switch earlier in this ball game. And lines one over the head of Justin Bohr down in the corner. Anderson digs it out. And it's a double for Gonzalez.
Let's give you one more look. This breaking ball didn't do much. Stays at the top of the zone. No depth. Stayed in at the thighs. Easy swing for Adrian Gonzalez. Kind of slows his hands down just a bit. Will line it into the right field corner.
And now it's Ahmed Rosario. 1 for 2 in his career against Bearclaw. Rosario tonight, a strikeout back in the 3rd. Popped into foul ground. Justin Bohr put it away in the 5th. Straightens him up on 94 inside, 1-1. Chop to Rojas, gets a big hop and retires Rosario, but over to third goes Agon, 1 away. Back to the top of the order for the New York Mets, Brandon Nimmo.
I'll tell you what, Paul, they've done an outstanding job, the Marlins have, of keeping Nimmo in check. He's been a threat out of the top spot in the Mets lineup basically since his return to the big league level. Running on base at a regular clip. 0 for 7 so far through 2 games.
Marlins did a good job neutralizing Ozzie Albies, leadoff hitter for the Braves in the previous series, and to Holly's point, doing the same with Nimmo in the first couple of games here. 0-2.
Speaking of Albies, the Atlanta Braves are up 2-1 in Philadelphia, bottom 7. It's kind of an interesting dynamic here in the National League East as 2 teams with, you know, some different expectations this year. Certainly hanging out at the top of this division right now, going at it.
2 of the top 3 records in the National League, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's fair to say beating expectations in both those cities. Albies a home run tonight as well.
The Phillies winning last night, separated by a half game at the start of play. If that score holds, and again only 2-1 in the 7th, Braves a little more breathing room. Inside to Nimmo. Five strikeouts for Brandon McCarthy in that one, 9 for Velasquez. That's already the 4th time that those 3 have matched up this season. Two and two to Nimmo, misses. And the count runs full.
Since we've been talking so much about rookies all night long, the Atlanta Braves, Luis Gohara, one of their hard-throwing lefties, one of their young guys, is moving into the rotation. He's going to make the start tomorrow against Jake Arrieta. Talked about how some guys start to kind of make their way this time of year. The young rookies start to make their mark. Marlins saw Gohara out of the bullpen over the weekend.
A 3-2 from Bearclaw to Nimmo. In the air, left field. A long run for Shuck toward the seats. And it's still 3-2. And Nimmo draws the walk. First and third, one away here in the eighth.
This is not the ideal situation that you're working towards. This is the most dangerous Met hitter really all season long. Making his way to home plate in the form of Asdrubal Cabrera.
And Jay Bruce has moved into the on-deck circle. If it gets to him in this inning, he'd be hitting for Wilmer Flores. A strike. Bearclaw the benefit of the call there. 0-1. Big numbers for Cabrera in these situations. Those 18 RBIs, the most in baseball. It's up to Bearclaw to keep him from adding to it. He's fared well against Cabrera in his career, Kyle Bearclaw. 2 for 11. But one of those two a home run, 3 strikeouts. Time is called before the 1-1 is delivered. A little late granting time by home plate umpire Mike Estabrook as Bearclaw was already into his motion.
Well on his way to home plate. I don't like the call. Cabrera outstanding numbers, 907 OPS this season, 7 homers, 27 RBIs.
No one currently up for the Marlins in their bullpen, so it's up to Bearclaw to get himself out of this first and third 1-out mess. And he may have done just that. 1, 2. A big double play for Kyle Bearclaw to escape the eighth, protecting a 5-1 lead. It's maybe the most dangerous Mets hitter to ground into the Twin killer. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure. By your South Florida Honda dealers. A crisp night in New York City. And a 5-1 lead for the Marlins as we go to the top of the 9th inning. Trying to even up the series at a game apiece, setting up a rubber match tomorrow night. Dan Straley and Jacob deGrom. But first, finish off this one as Jacob Rame comes in, 7th time this season. An ERA right at 4.5.
The last 2 outings, 2 2/3 scoreless innings. Rame, a big arm, 96 plus on the fastball, slider and changeup go right along with him.
Strike at 95 miles an hour to Martin Prado. Couple of strikeouts tonight for Prado. Ground out, pop up on the infield as well. Fourth pitcher of the night for the Mets. Wheeler started 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. Gazelman worked the 7th. A walk and a strikeout. A.J. Ramos pitched the 8th. Gave up 2 runs on 1 swing of the bat. A 2-run home run for Derek Dietrich to extend the Marlins lead to where it is now at 5-1. That one knocks the mask off of Mike Estabrook. One of the few umpires that goes with the hard helmet as opposed to just the regular cap.
Some velocity. Rame, my goodness. Right at him. 98 at the top.
Well, the Mets, like many bullpens, don't lack velocity coming out of that bullpen.
It's a reminder of how the game has changed. You look at, we're not talking about necessarily the pivotal players in 7th, 8th, and 9th innings all the time.
Out to right field, but right at Nimmo.
A good swing of the bat. Prado. Yeah, you kind of even back it up nowadays. You look at most of these bullpens, we talk 8, 9 guys sometimes, back down to guys a lot of times get those middle innings. 95, 96, 97.
A 3-hit night for JT Realmuto, including a 2 RBI single up the middle in the 2nd inning. When the Marlins scored 3. Third 3-hit night this year for JT Realmuto, who has been among the hottest Marlins hitters since coming off the disabled list. Right field line and into the seats.
I'm sure JT will tell me tomorrow, those 2 first at bats against Wheeler, as big as they were in this game, it was more about approach than said result. I mean, he didn't square it up and crush both those balls off the bat, but his approach, what got the job done. Stayed through the middle of the field and actually was aggressive against Wheeler early in those counts. Right at Wheeler, jumped on the fastball a couple of times. Base hits through the middle.
And on the ground to Rosario. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you look here as you keep score during the game. I see base hit, base hit, base hit. One of those broken bat, and one of them a 9-hopper through the middle.
Right.
They're all hits.
Absolutely. Well, and again, the approach, it's not that he was necessarily aiming up the middle. Dare I say that again after last night's episode with Dietrich. But the point being that, you know, he had the middle open. And again, with the situation being what it was, with runners in scoring position, with 2 outs, didn't try to do too much. It wasn't like he was looking for the biggest swing of the night. He was like a base hit up the middle gets things done right here. Whether it's a 16-hopper or a broken bat flare into center field. I used to kind of laugh about this, but you look at every major league field, as different as they all are, center field's always the biggest. Doesn't matter where you're at. More grass out there than anywhere else.
Out to center field. Back is Rosario to make the catch. And Bohr is retired. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Brad Ziegler in. Not a save situation, but is going to try to close out a 5-1 game. As Brad Ziegler takes over in a 5-1 ball game. Not a save situation, but just as the team trying to get back on the horse after a tough loss on Sunday, it was Ziegler that started that inning in the 9th inning in Atlanta when the Braves came back and scored 6 and erased a 9-4 deficit. Don Mattingly giving Ziegler the opportunity to get back on the bump tonight, and he'll do so with a slightly new look defense behind him. Justin Bohr out with the double switch. Rojas at first and Yadiel Rivera at short.
Just like the young guys, the vets too, bad outings and bad days. For Ziegler, right back up on the horse. We get into that good rhythm again. You know, it was only a few outings ago I was ranting and raving about Ziegler's pitch movement and action, talking about the sinking action, the good changeup action, how he was attacking the strike zone.
A ball and a strike to Luis Guillorme, who was off the bench for the New York Mets. And to Rojas. Takes it himself for the first out. And now Conforto. 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts, and flew out to deep left center field in the 7th inning. But Brinson able to make a long run, leap at the wall, and make the catch. Grounded to Rojas, who once again will take it himself. And there are now 2 away.
Well, 2 up, 2 down, 2 ground balls. That's what it looks like if you're in the box against Brad Ziegler, and that's what you have to contend with. See the release point just above the kneecap. And then you factor in action, pitch action. The depth of the sinker, the change up, the slider, all moving. Typically down, doesn't really throw the upshoot fastball. Some submarine guys do.
Jay Bruce out to center field. Brinson is there, and a 1-2-3 inning for Brad Ziegler as the Marlins take the middle game of this 3-game set, 5-1. So still much more to come from Citi Field. We'll check back in with the folks in the studio. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson. Marlins Live post-game show coming up right after the break.